Randy Salsbery has been involved in the pork industry for many years as a multi-generational pig and grain farmer near Kokomo, Indiana. Randy says his family farm has quite a long history.
Well, the family farm, I think my granddad was a sharecropper, and I think he bought his first farm, or maybe rented his first farm in 1942. So we've been around for however many years that is. Then my dad followed my grandpa. My uncles did not. So when it came down to our family, there was my two brothers and I began farming. And Tim began farming in 1973, was when we built our first confinement barn. Then I was off, I went to Indiana University, became a CPA, and I was in Indianapolis practicing as an accountant for 8 years before I came back to the farm.
Randy adds there was one light bulb moment while working as an accountant that made him decide he needed to return to the farm. Sitting
in an office building high above Indianapolis in the spring and the fall, I'm looking out and thinking, what am I doing here? That's pretty much it. So, I don't know, my friends thought, well, you're crazy to go back to the farm, because at that time, things had really taken a dump in the early 80s. And that was 2 or 3 years into that is when I started thinking about, well, maybe going back to the farm. I had to make a decision, either stick with the accounting or go home. My kids were very young at the time, and I thought that would be a good place to raise my family. So that's what we did. We moved back here in 1984.
The farm includes Randy's 2 brothers, sister, 2 sons, and 2 nephews, most of whom worked off farm before returning home to farm with each other.
When I first came back to the farm, we had 2 of the barns, which we've expanded quite a bit, but we still had all of our sows outside. We're feeding them outside in a muddy lot. We had feeding floors. But we brought the sows in 1988, and so we've been all enclosed since then. So again, the farm has grown. We did rent it off some other farms that were going out of business, but we didn't decide to build these last 2 barns here, these finishing barns, until we started getting some commitment from the next generation that they wanted to come back to the farm. So then we built these 2 barns here, these half quads.
The farm's expansion has allowed the next generation to return to the farm, and Randy says there is plenty of room for his grandchildren to farm if they choose to. Randy's son Adam says while the Salsbery family is big, they just want to make sure they treat their neighbors well.
As far as family legacy, maybe I probably didn't think about it a whole lot. I mean, our family was a big family and a tight family, and my grandparents' house is around the other side of these barns, and we spent a lot of time up there with, all my aunts and uncles and siblings, and we're a big part of the school. It's just down the road because there's so many of us. But as a kid, I guess you don't think about legacy or what you mean to the community. It was just we were farmers, and there's lots of farmers around here that mean a lot to this community. It's a farming community. So I don't know if it's something that I think about still now. We try to be good neighbors, do the right thing. We try to treat all our neighbors well, and hopefully they'll do the same to us.
Eric, Randy's other son, says he is happy to see his dad honored for what is both his job and his hobby.
I was talking to another guy in our community that retired after building a business, and not that Dad's retiring, but I asked him what his hobby was. I was just curious because I always saw him working, and he says, I don't have a hobby. And the light bulb went off in my mind that the farm is my dad's hobby. So it's his work and it's his hobby. And so anyway, he's poured his life into it, and I'm grateful for that because it's given us all opportunities to come back, and it's grown enough that there'll be an opportunity for my boys and my girls if they want to come back too.
And when asked what being recognized by the pork industry means to Randy, he was very humble in his response.
I appreciate being recognized in the industry. I'm thinking there's a lot of people are a lot more deserving than me, but I think they've already got their rewards, so I'm last one. But I don't know. I know my son said, well, you're an old guy, you've been raising hogs for a long time, so that's why you're getting this award. You assure me that's not it, but anyway, I am honored. It's fun, and I've met a lot of people. Raising hogs has been good to our family over the years, over the decades.
The Indiana pork industry is better because Randy Salsbery has served in leadership roles at the state and national levels. His commitment to his community, his family, and his neighbors are just a few reasons Indiana Pork is proud to recognize him as our 2024 Meritorious Award winner.